given in Amman, Jordan, and I'm going to quote from it. He said this: "We live in a world in which it remains common to speak of or see headlines with these terms: militant Islam, resurgent Islam, fundamentalist Islam, Islamic bombs, Islamic extremism, Islamic fanatics, Islamic guerrillas, and Islamic terrorism." Even the former Secretary General of NATO caused a stir when he spoke of Islam as the new communism, a remark which brought criticism and a hasty retraction. This is a cartoon comic worldview, and in it, Islam is perceived as a threat to Western civilization. But it is not news to point out the more accurate picture, the historic debt of Western scholarship to Islamic thought and practice, nor of the contemporary manifestations of outstanding cooperation. Jordan and Syria both now have formal institutes for the advancement of dialogue between Islam and Christianity. The Jordanian one is a particularly exciting example of an institute funded and promoted by royal patronage, and which is set now to expand its base for dialogue to include Judaism, a tripartite dialogue of the three Abrahamic faiths: Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. Or it isn't news to speak of the many excellent centers for religious dialogue in South Asian culture in India, many of which I have visited, and which are too numerous to list. Nor to speak of the years of patient and often difficult work, for example in Britain, which went into the shaping of a new agreed syllabus for religious education in British schools. This excellent syllabus draws on all the major faiths in producing a syllabus to educate British children, which should do away with much of the past ignorance. This is a relatively new situation for people in Britain. Only within the past 30 to 40 years has Britain become a multicultural and multi-religious society. Take just one small concrete example in myself. In my school education, teaching about any other faith than Christianity simply did not exist. My 6-year-old godson, however, spent an evening recently explaining the difference between Diwali and Guy Fawkes Night. This can only be positive in creating a culture of understanding and not ignorance. Then thirdly, reciprocity and not exclusivism. If we seriously want peace and harmony on our overcrowded planet, then friendship and respect we must have towards people of other faiths in a mutual way. This, of course, is more difficult for some religions than for others. I'm going to take two specific examples now, Islam and Christianity. Islam and Christianity are both missionary faiths. They make absolute claims and are anxious to promote their faiths. Muslims are commanded in the Holy Quran to act as witnesses for mankind, just as Christians are commanded in Holy Scripture to go into the world and preach the gospel. So the question to be put to both Muslims and Christians is this: can believers who really believe passionately in their hearts that theirs is a missionary faith really be committed to dialogue? My own answer to this is that they must be, and that they have a distinguished history of doing so in the past as in the present. Take yourself as an individual as an example. Whatever your religious position, now ask yourself this question: would you say of yourself that because you have a clearly and lovingly held identity within a particular religious faith, that your willingness to listen, to learn, and to grow is diminished by that? In any case, no religious faith encourages its members to commend their faith arrogantly, irresponsibly, or deceitfully. Now move on from this, and this is a question addressed to any who are in a majority religion. is a majority faith willing to offer the same rights and privileges that it expects for its own members? This is a particularly urgent issue, whether it addresses minority Muslim groups in the West or whether it addresses minority Christian groups in the Muslim world. In Britain, there is a particular urgency as we address the question of Muslim schools as independent institutions financed partly by the state. In my own area of London, Ealing, moves to create